All right. All right. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Bison, aka BisonTrades, over on Twitter. And this is RareFUD Radio, episode number 16. Getting into it, getting after it. Yet again, we have a lot to talk about. It's been about a week since we had our official episode. We did have a space on Friday that was an absolute banger. Was expecting about 10 people to show up. We had over 400 unique listeners to the space. Crazy numbers. We had everybody show up. We had Liberty Square show up. We had Shake from Cyber Samurai show up. And then we even had Frank show up to talk a little bit about art rework. It was amazing. Did not expect to go on for 2.5 hours, but there we were. So make sure to join us on our space, our Twitter space, every Friday. It's going to be at noon Eastern Standard Time for the time being. I think that is pretty much locked in at this point, but stay tuned. Make sure you are following us on Twitter for any updates. Joining me, as always, we have our co-hosts. Let's get into it. Dorian, how you doing, my man?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? I hope you all had a great weekend. Back for another one, dog. Market's popping, so I'm ready to talk about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then, of course, we also have Joe Soul. Joe Soul, how you doing today, brother?
We're doing great over here on this side, man. So happy to see you guys. Beautiful Tuesday. Everybody's alive and well, and I'm happy, man.
It is beautiful outside. I don't know if it was just Hurricane Ian brought like really nice weather behind it or something. It's been 70s here in Jacksonville, which is so unheard of. Usually it takes another month or so for it to cool down to these temperatures. I'm not sure if it'll last this long, but I'm in a great mood, man. We got so much to talk about. I don't know if it's because I've been watching Ted Lasso. You guys ever watched Ted Lasso before on Apple TV? If you guys haven't, it is amazing, man. What a fun show, dude. Anyways, we're going to get into it, though. We got plenty to talk about. We'll talk about the market. We'll talk about Critters Cult. We'll talk about the new mints that have been popping up, Sharkify, Creature Chronicles, Rifters. We'll be talking about AMMs, as always. And then we'll give a little bit of alpha at the end of the show. So, guys, let's get into it. According to HelloMoon.io, one of our favorite analytical tools that is for free, we are at 123K SOL. We've been holding this level for quite a while now. It's been really sustainable. We've seen a lot of new projects come in and help that number out, prop it up a little bit. But we've been seeing a lot of consistent volume on some of these top projects as well. Another auspicious thing that I saw on Magic Eden was they took down the marketplace stats. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I was not able to check the 7-day stats for 101 art. You know, I like to do it, and they just have a very digestible way of presenting that information. Could not find it under the insights tab. So very curious to see, but last time I checked, it was about 10K sold. So we've been holding that volume as well. Market's still chugging along. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think, Joe? How are we doing in this market?
Yeah, man, we're doing well right now. Crypto's holding up well. You saw BTC chime that $20,000 line, which is pretty bullish for short term. So yeah, I mean, we got 100,000+ volume in our echo chamber, and a lot of hype mints coming up from pump and dumps, like some really solid teams. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We've seen liquidity being spread again, and hopefully we can just keep those numbers high and keep people engaged. But yeah, I'm liking it.
Yeah, absolutely. Dorian, how are you feeling about the market right now?
Man, I'm cautiously optimistic. I can say it's great that the volume's been rocking over 100K for a while now, for a couple weeks at this point. But macroeconomic conditions still aren't good. I wonder what's going to happen to the market conditions after Utes, because that's another thing that I think people are still active because they're like, oh, Utes is coming, Utes is coming. But like maybe Utes, then pilots will be able to continue this. But as we all know, these things come in cycles and they don't last forever. So one day it's like after 1 mint, the way it happens is so suddenly, because it's usually like 1 mint comes up and it doesn't mint out. And then it's like a desert from that point on. So it's kind of like playing Russian roulette. Who's going to be the one?
Yeah, for sure. It is going to be interesting to see. I think I'm right there with you, Dorian. I am cautiously optimistic. Still taking profits where I see fit, cutting my losses. We'll be talking about some of these upcoming mints, some of these recent mints as well that, I've either taken profit on or cut losses. And we'll talk a little bit about philosophy on that, because I think it's very important for a lot of people, depending on your risk aversion, making sure that you would identify those levels of like, hey, I'm out. I don't want to be here anymore. Or, hey, I've gotten good profit. I don't want to get euphoric or attached to this. I'm going to go ahead and cut my losses here, or cut my profits here, and we'll just move on and cycle those profits into other things. So we got a lot to talk about. I really do want to keep this trading philosophy today, but we're going to talk a little bit about market headlines. Critters Cult just continues to be, it's smart money inflow. It's got a good cult following. It's great art. And it's nice to see. It's a different change of pace where we're kind of seeing a little bit of like Ethereum philosophy that I've always respected, where it is just about the art, right? Like it's about the art. It's about the community around Critters Cult seems to be sustainable. It seems that people aren't just like making it their PFP for a day and then flipping it. It's these big names, these big accounts are accumulating these critters, and it does make me really bullish on them. At least in the medium term. Like, I think this is one of the mints that I feel pretty confident in placing a small amount of chips into for the medium term and see what they can produce here. I think a lot of the lore I've seen, a lot of the scenes I've seen from RGB and Sun Studio look incredible. And I've said this on a few spaces between Hello Moon and our space on Friday, that I think the fact that it is pixelated does help with the animation. And we've said a long time, it's one of the reasons that Bubble Goose is so down bad right now, because we have the patience of a small child in this industry. It is that immature investors paradigm that Joe always talks about, where it's waiting to get all that content out that you're promised with this lore stuff. And I think they're able to get more of that out quicker over with Critters Cult and what they're aiming to do versus something like Bubble Goose. That is going to take months more, guys, months more before Bubble Goose is ready. So I'm bullish on Critters Cult. I think it's held its price really well. I said on Friday that 13 Sol was basically free. You're basically at mint price for a lot of these people that bought whitelist tokens at 10 Sol and then minted for 3. I do want to hear from you guys. Dorian, I know you recently acquired a critter. How are you feeling about the Critters Cult over there?
Man, I honestly don't know. It's funny because like Joe even messaged me after he saw that I purchased one. He's like, dude, what's going on with Critters Cult? Because this isn't something you normally would buy. And honestly, it's not. It's far out of my comfort zone. But I see the social engagement, and what you were describing is very unique. It's not like something I've seen before, or something that I've seen recently on Solana, I should say. One thing that I think Critters Cult is doing well is that it rebounded from 13 back up to 21. And for me, that was kind of bullish. I'm like, oh, wow, there's like strong support in seeing this project succeed. Sorry about that. Seeing this project succeed. And then I'm like, okay, it's like if Toli's switching his PFP and then Raj is switching his PFP, and then like people are all over the timeline are still talking about Critters Call, but what is even more unique is they're not like, what's the utility of Critters Call? I have not seen that once, and that's a bullish sign to me. I know, surprisingly, when somebody's not asking what's the utility, that means that if this project doesn't do anything, people are like, this is fine. I bought this and I'm happy with this. And I think that's a better form of utility than like the founders trying to create and give something, but just find some random staking platform or whatever. But you did mention a good point, Bison, about being able to recognize when you should cut your losses. And for me, because it's a trade that I'm not like super comfortable with, and it's not a trade I fully understand, I feel like it's part FOMO, part analyzing the space. So I'm like, I have a hard cutoff. If this thing drops down to 14, 15 SOL again, your boy's out of there quicker than a hot potato, dog. I'm dropping it.
That's fair. That's fair. And that's good. At least you identify those levels that I think is important for anybody in this space. Even if you are one that believes in this project long term and you think it's still okay to cut loss and see if it goes lower, and maybe you're able to buy 1 or 2 or 3 at a lower price and just capture some of that lost profit, or that lost profit on paper, back. You know what I mean? So it is like, let's say you bought at 20, it goes down to 14 or 15, and you're like, hey, that's my cut loss right there. And let's say it goes all the way down to 10. Well, hey, if we buy back in at 10, you lost 5, but you really gained 5 as well because you didn't hold on to it, right? So you got to capture some of that back and at least get a little liquid back from that. You're able to minimize losses. I don't want to say it's a gain or anything like that, but you're able to minimize losses.
Yep.
Joe, I want to talk to you. What do you think about Critters Cult? This is one of the projects I haven't really seen you in. I'm curious to your thoughts.
Yeah, so Critters Call, it was funny. I would have been in it, but just how things timed up with my liquidity at the time, where I missed Critters. I missed it. And I said, oh, man. And then So Dead Ecosystem kind of got brought into my vision, and I was able to put some liquidity. So I'm actually, I personally, I see a long-term vision with this. I see big name people that love art and investors of all kinds that are very interested or buying, PFPing it. A lot of DeGods switching over to PFPs as well through NFT Inspect. You can kind of see that stream value. So I'm interested in for 2 things. One, I could see the community actually building, shaking a lot of people out and building like a true community. It's 2, it's something different, right? Like it's not a pump and dump. It's not merch. It's not this. It's not that. They're actually building studio. They're building something really cool, So, and they're proven already. I mean, the team is proven, like Bison said. And thirdly, I mean, they're just it's just the vibe, bro. The pixelated owls and I mean whatever else they have there, they're just vibing. So I personally am actually looking at the chart now because I'm interested in one. So for me, my best entry for my brain would be right around that 17.24 mark. So I might throw some stink bids in here and try to get an entry because there was an incredibly big liquidity tap from about 20 to 10, and that was incredibly traded and ate up volume-wise. So I wouldn't be surprised at a little bit of a trickle back down to that 17 range and then another big explosion up. So, yeah, I this is one of those plays where, like Dorian said, it's a little out of my comfort zone because I don't know too much about it, but I know the meta of art and storytelling and lore, it is huge on Ethereum and will trickle down to us. So it's all about setting those chips up. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
well said, man.
I agree with that sentiment. And I think it's one of those things that, one, I'm looking at like the 15, 16 range is kind of my buy opportunity. I think we could trickle down there, but if we miss it, no worries. I think one of the biggest bullish things for me, and we say it a lot with some of these blue chips, it's that wide above the floor buys. We've seen a ton of them on Critters Cult. We've seen a ton of 50 SOL plus buys. These 101s are liquid, very liquid. I've seen a lot of these 101s get bought up almost instantly when they're listed right after reveal, and they just continuously been traded. So it is really good to see. It's encouraging. When you see something like that, it means that one, the art is respected. It means that people with big pockets are looking for their critter, and then they might accumulate a lot at the floor. This is typically what happens when we see projects like this. We saw it with OK Bears, where people were willing to spend big on one bear and then accumulate as much as they could on the floor, and maybe even find some deals on some ones that they know could trade above the floor. So it's fun seeing the psychology behind it. And that's one of the reasons that I'm massively bullish on Critter Skull. It is some of the best pixel art I've ever seen. And I'm not really like the biggest pixel art fan, but this stuff is really good. This is really, really good pixel art. So like I said, some of the scenes I've seen with Sun Studio, as far as setting the ballroom, they had that little trailer of the car driving by for Critters Cult before it launched. It was just really good. It was really well done. It definitely set the mood. And I think if there's anybody who's going to like actually bridge this lore over to Solana, it feels like this is the project to do so. So I think it has a unique value proposition compared to a lot of the win utility projects that we have on Solana. And so I'm willing to make a small bet on that. I'm not pushing all of my portfolio in there. I'm not becoming a Critters Maxi, but I do see a lot of promise in this project. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Guys, if you have anything else to say about Critters Code, it is cool. Something that they are adding a little bit of utility. I know you I don't even know if it's a staking mechanism. I think it's just if you hold it in your wallet, you get 1 pixel a day. And you can actually use these to bid on auctions for some of RGB's one-on-ones. And like we've said, very talented artist. And I'm sure Sun Studio, he is not the only artist over there. So it's really good to see. I like, I'm a big art fan, especially lately. Seeing this one-on-one kind of bridge the gap, more art-focused stuff is encouraging to see. So that's the bright side of new mints. I want to get into the not so bright side, because we've had a lot of mints lately that have just fell by the wayside. I mean, it just feels we're going to get into mint fatigue again. It feels like if we keep going at this rate and we keep having these, in my opinion, low effort projects that may be promising, and there may be some, I think we had a good first round with like Yukayo, BBD Cats, and Helions. I think those were a better round than what we just saw over this past week, because what we saw over this past week was not good, guys. It was not good. We can start with Sharkify, because I do want to start there. That mint was atrocious. It was not fun to participate in. I was one of the ones who said buy Forge, see if you can get in on Forge mint. I did buy Forge. I thought it was going to pump, because we've seen it pump after some of these big. We saw it pump on Utes mint or Fruits mint. We saw it pump on Centuries mint. And so it's been, hey, 2 instances of this. This should be a pretty good buy. We actually saw a ton of volatility on it after the mint. It was not a fun experience. The dynamic pricing, I actually lost a really good entry on it at like 190 Sol or 190 Forge. And because my slippage tolerance on Bifrost wasn't high enough, I actually had to mint for 290 Forge, which is not a fun feeling. So I basically broke even. I'm about to be exiting my Sharkify. So it's not fun. It was not a fun minting experience either. I had a redeem token from Forge that was trapped there. They said I was supposed to be able to claim NFT. I didn't see anything, bro. I didn't see anything on that page that said, and whatever it was grayed out. So I saw there was issues with public mint. There's issues with whitelist mint. They were over allocated. Blocksmith Labs was, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. This is only their 3rd mint. So like, this is also in like, we're starting to get a little bit more hype behind mints back. So it's not just like Fruits and Centuries, which was kind of like in the really down bad bear market. It's like a little bit of hope has come back. So I'm not going to fault them for it, but bro, Sharky sounds like it's a great lending platform for NFTs and everything like that. The art, why does Bifrost keep releasing this art? I mean, no offense to Centuries or Fruits or anything like that. It's not good. It's not good art. Like, there's nothing unique about it or anything like that. And I try not to FUD it, but bro, there's got to be like, we respect art now. We are art respecters. What's happening here? I want to talk to you guys about it. Did either of you guys, were you able to mint Sharkify? Did you go for it? I know Dorian, you didn't, because you're not really a mentor. No, were you able to?
So Sharkify, no, I did not. I did not do Shark. I missed out. I would have, definitely would have. Just I think I went in for Taiyos, first come, first serve. I got it, and I think they just never gave me the role, and I never pressed it just because I had a bunch of stuff going. Now from hearing what happened to you, I'm kind of glad. Seeing what happened after Mint, and floor price wise, I'm kind of glad. So things happen for a reason sometimes, but yeah, we're seeing a lot of these mints, do the normal thing. Pump up 1.5 to 2x in fatigue, right? If you're lucky, and then right below floor price, then you got the degens that'll scoop below mint price and hope for that easy R&R, and that's what we're just seeing, right? I took L's on Felines, I took L's on Eries, I took L's on what else? A couple other mints I've done recently, and they're just. Those are times where if you look at the founders a couple weeks in, they're still building, they're still networking. Yeah, it might be a good advantageous entry, but for that mint, man, it's just like you guys said, fatigue-wise, I'll keep my chips on the side unless I see something that's really, really blowing my mind, I need not the normal just exciting because it's on Trust Labs or exciting because it's on this launch pad or no, like if something truly comes that's different. I'm done with derivatives, different. And I mean derivative and utility as well, something different.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. That's why I wanted to ask you guys. I'm very curious why Catalina Whale is floor price. And I love I don't understand. They offer amazing passive utility, and yet they just don't. I don't get it. What's the paradigm on that? Like, I'm kind of speechless.
So I have my theories about them and Bubble Goose. But we can jump into that now, or we can finish up the Sharkify thing first.
Yeah, keep the space. Yeah, keep the topic.
Let's go. I mean, you guys didn't mention Sharkify, so
I got starts on Sharkify and a whole bunch of other things, but we can do both. So I'll kick it off with Sharkify and then roll into Catalina. So you were talking about the botched mint of Sharkify. However, I don't even want to let Critters call out the hook because their mint was not the best either. So it's like, unfortunately, like people have short-term memory in this space, and like the mint isn't that big of a process because people are just really trying to make some money. Regarding the Sharkify utility, I like what Joe said about derivative of not only in art, but also utility. How many other lending utilities are going to come out? Like we had a while ago, Pawn Shot Nomis was one of the first ones to do it. Fract, they went together with Fract and Fract got up. Now Yaw does it. So there's already other loan platforms out there that you can utilize right now. Why are you going to go with the brand new one? Like, I just don't get it. It's like, what is it, like the royalty distribution? Well, if there's no liquidity there, then there's not going to be any royalty distribution. So it's just like, it's not appealing to me. So this is why I'm like, I don't really engage in mints. It's just way too much going on. So I like kind of to tone out the noise and just really focus what's on secondary. I'm a firm believer in buying up rather than trying to buy at like the cheapest price possible. Because if a project's able to go down 40 to 50%, then shoot back up, kind of like how Critters did back at to 20 soul floor, that shows me, hey, there's viability in this project and that people are really bullish on that it was able to come back after pulling back from 30 to what? I think 12, 13, they shot back to 20. I'm like, that makes me more comfortable to put my 20 soul in that project than putting 20 soul into Sharky post-mint. Nah, dog, that's super risky in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's my my thoughts on Sharkify. Not fading the project. They could turn out to be really well. I'll have to do more research into them. So, but when I critique projects, is never meant to the point that, oh, this thing is going to zero. I really hope they succeed, but this is just based off my initial research on them. Now, I'm rolling into Catalinas and Bubble Goose. Man, it's like, there's no secret that I'm super bullish on Catalina and Bubble Goose. I purchased my whale recently at 38 soul, and I have like 12 Bubble Goose. Majority of them purchased between 7 and 9. I'm not selling. I'm still bullish on that team. I think what's going on is a lack of, and this is partially on the team, of like lack of knowing what you get as a holder, but also the market not having enough belief in the long-term vision of it. Now, speaking on Bubble Goose, I still believe when you listen to Carl Jones in his Baller Academy, dude, he's so passionate about Bubble Goose. And like listening to him like makes me more bullish on Bubble Goose. But I think the disconnect that comes from is that Carl isn't integrated into the space enough so other people can see that passion that he has. So it's like, I'm confident that Carl will be able to execute his roadmap out of anybody in the space, because that's why they did a 7 sold mint. So they could have enough funds to execute this animated show that he believed in. But that his focus on the executing the project is not playing or catering to his Web3 audience. And that's affecting the floor price. So I think that long term, Bubble Goose will be completely fine. And once the show starts rolling out, the price is going to go up. And whenever they start announcing partnership, the price is going to go up. But in the midterm, the price is going to be negatively impacted because people are not getting the type of return that they expected. I don't know what they were looking for when the team was very transparent, and having access to Carl Jones is, I think, utility huge in of itself. But yeah, and the same thing with Catalina. I think they had a lot of FUD going on in the community for a while. Like the past couple months, it's like the market's weird, especially in a bear market. I think they just pick projects to hate on. First, it started with D-Gods. Then everybody's like, oh, let's crap on Tom for a while. So I remember the taiyo ecosystem was the redheaded stepchildren of the ecosystem. Sorry to all the redheads out there. No offense against you, just the same. And then if from taiyo, it rotated to Catalina. So I just think it's just in line to hate on, but I really think the bottom's in for both of these projects. You see Catalina like really focusing on building a strong community with their DAOs to give stuff back to them and really pushing their brand. And I think they'll be fine long term, but it's just like, I guess, bear market vibes, man. It's like people are like, why would I hold on to this 28 sold project when I can take this liquidity and jump into some mints? Or why am I bullish on Bubble Goose when they don't have any catalyst coming up that's going to immediately make me money? So, but yeah, sorry for the extended monologue on that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Yeah. To answer your question, Joe, about Catalina, you want to know one of the things that not enough people are like brave enough to say, in my opinion, is that I think it's the community fault. And I think Dorian kind of hit it on the head where he's like talking about, they are kind of haters, dude. Like sometimes, like I remember I recorded a voice memo on Twitter. I was just like talking about, I was like, hey, what do you guys think about the Bubble Goose like 7 sold mint price? And bro, I had whales coming at my neck thinking I was talking ish, dude. I was fine with it. I was fine with the 7 sold mint. But I personally, I sat there, I was like, dude, this community is kind of toxic. And I'll tell you, the Discord is not as active as I would expect. What was a blue chip is now kind of a mid blue chip, in my opinion. Like I'm sure it'll get there because look, bro, it's nothing with the team. I'll tell you right now, that team is goated. It's the same with Bubble Goose, but I think it's the community that's involved with them that's stuck around. And you got to understand, when a community is not welcoming, inviting, and actually putting forth the effort to build relationships, and sometimes that means buying other NFTs. That's another thing I saw with Whales is like they weren't involved in other communities for a large aspect. They were Whales and Whales only, and they were like FUD everything else almost. And I think that's a really big aspect of growth in NFTs in your community, is being like welcoming and inclusive of other NFTs. So I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot, and they're more than happy to blame it on the founders or anything. Bro, I know Mr. Three First Names, Michael Ross George and Carlo and even on Bubble Goose with Love and Carl. They're not going to let this go. And, they got good people over there too that they hired within, like Kenny. Kenny Loaded is one of my favorite people in Web3.
Yeah, Kenny's solid dude.
He is like one of the best people in Web3, hands down. So I love what they built over there. I'm just like, I'm kind of sad about the community. And like, if they had learned to be more inclusive, go out into the world and like show people like, hey, whales are strong. We vibe with other communities and stuff like that. I think they could have done better for themselves to help bide their time while Catalina actually releases what they're trying to release, which is being a Web3 studio for entertainment of all sorts. And that's incubating an animation studio with Carl, right? And Bubble Goose is gonna be the first one. So look, man, that's my rant on them too. I think this is FUD right here. We always said like Catalina's next up after Utes reveals. I think Pilots is the next move, and I think that Catalina's the ecosystem after that. I think that still holds true, and I think you're getting in at a great price, like my man Dora over here. So we can talk about, it's really funny you bring up Bubble Goose story, because everybody was outraged at that 7 soul mint.
Yeah.
and we just had a 10 soul mint from Rifters for a 7,000 collection. It is the same amount, and I have not seen nearly as much FUD, bro. Nearly as much.
Yo, mind blown, dog. Yo, blatant hypocrisy, dude. Can I go on a rant real quick? I swear, dog. So, like, even during the time of Bubble Goose minting at 7 soul, like, I think Just 8 did it, like, right before them or whatever. 5 soul. That's show throwing shade at the founders of Just 8. I know they're actively building, they're doing great things, but when you are just coming to the mint and market does not know you that well, and all you have is the past experience of the founders to like rely on and market your brand, yo, no shot, dude. No shot. It's like literally, dude has experience building, creating television shows, and you're complaining over a 7 soul. Get out of here, dog.
Yeah. The Rifters thing, like, I just mean, like, be transitive, dude. There's a 10 soul mint on a 7K collection, and they just revealed the art. Joe, I know you're still holding on to them, so I'm not going to try to fudge your bags too much. This is RareFUD Radio, by the way.
Oh no, FUD it, bro. FUD it. Because honestly, I need
that art
more, because art is I've talked to a few of the, not the founders, but cover their marketing guys, and supposedly metadata was screwed up, which you can speculate on that, right? You can speculate on that. But to me, the whole point of their vision is not the art, and that's the problem. Like, you could tell obviously that was the last checkpoint on the list there. So yeah, I'm gonna save weight. I'm gonna use their staking platform and try to get my 10 soul back on each one of my Rifters for Polygon and ETH. If it doesn't work out, I took my L. If they can turn it around, I profit, 100 plus soul in the next couple weeks. I'll be a happy man. If not, I lost a amount of money, but but you know what, Bison? I'm not feeling great, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not feeling great from that. That doesn't have me up in joy here. You know what I'm saying? So ugly. I'm gonna hope for the best.
Yeah, man.
It's ugly, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude, it's terrible. Like that, bro. Metadata, not layering the right metadata to get, like, that's not Magic Eden's fault, bro. Come on.
No,
that's the art, dog. That's the lines. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Joe, I'm sorry, man. I feel you, dog. I feel you, man. I know you were super bullish on them, man. And for it to come like down like this is like, man, this sucks, dude. And like, I'm sure all of us on this screen have just taken a massive L, dude. I know, like, one of the, I'm not going to mention the projects, so I don't want to FUD it, but it's like, I invested like 100 soul in this thing, and I sold at the bottom and like 2 souls. So I managed to like recuperate only 10. Oh, dude, it was the worst, man. It's just like, but that I learned a lesson about when, I guess the theme of the day is like, when do you cut your bags? I didn't cut them soon enough, and I should have. I had hopium, but it's like, logically, once those fundamentals changed in that project, I'm like, I should have cut a long time ago. So I could have lessened the loss. Well, and that's another, bringing it back to Bubble Goose, is just a good comparison. It's like the fundamentals of why I invested in Bubble Goose have not changed. If those change, I'll cut my bags real quick.
Yeah. I mean, it's 100% right. And look, we're not art maxis all of a sudden. Like, I do like seeing the whole, I've always said it, it's the building a whole ecosystem of art, of utility, of and just like aligning with the brand, right? Like, if you are an art focused project, right, you don't have to worry too much about utility. Just come out and say it, and I think there's enough of a community now around Solana that appreciates art. And if you're a utility maxi, great, come out and say it. But I think the projects that are going to find long-term success are the ones that hit it all on the head, right? The ones that have a little bit of utility and they do it well. The ones that have great art that appeals to a broad amount of people, have good founders, have good community, have good team, right? Like, that's it. Those are the 5 right there. You nail all those, you're good to go. I think the world's your oyster, because I see probably 1% of projects actually do that well. So it is, dude, some of these new mints, I mean, we saw it with Creature Chronicles too. It didn't do anything for me either,
bro. You know what, bro? I was hoping for more from the art. And like, this is the thing, right? If you're going to do the delayed gratification lore, storytelling, building an IP around whatever, you gotta focus on the art, bro, because that's all they got for a while. That's all you have for a long time, right? Because you have to let these guys build. Obviously, we get it, right? You're an early investor basically into their structure unless they have a lot of funding beforehand, right? You're assisting that. But yeah, man, give us some good art that we can be proud of and look at and not go, what did I just put my money into every time? I hope they're good. But like, that's a correlation. If you don't take time for the art, why am I going to think you're taking time for the UI UX and the experience that I'm going to get on this? It's just like, there's a lot of things as an investor that I go into. So yeah, man, it's not the best. And like cutting losses, right? Let's talk about rifters for me. As they become vested, right? If I lose that 10 soul mark, I'm selling because my cost basis isn't there anymore. Opportunity cost is gone. Value proposition is gone for me under 10 soul, right? So I'm cutting there. And that it is what it is. So like that's my idea, right? If not over 10, cool. I'll hold and we'll see what happens from there. But it's just it is what it is. Guess what? I'll take, whatever the soul loss is and I'll find the next one to compound it into, or I'll go stake it into my long-term hole and go, you know what? All right, some more into that and we'll get back to it. So whatever it is, man, it's just capital preservation and not ever getting too happy or too low. Like you make a great trade, good. Don't get too happy. You make a bad trade, good. Don't get too sad. Like just keep it even keeled. Like with sports, relationships, anything in life, bro. Like it really helps trading, especially to keep an even keeled heart and mind. So that's what I try to do during these times of like getting that rifter drop. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
man. Well said, Joe. I just want to say that like, it's like everybody like experiences a loss in this space. I don't care how good of like Joe's probably the best trader I've seen out there, and this dude takes L's. I invest only on projects and secondary to limit my downside, but guess what? I still take L's. I'm cutting bags right now. So it's just like it's fine to take L's. The most important thing is just like mitigating them and make sure when you do take dubs, they far outweigh your L's that you've taken.
Yeah, exactly. And one quick thing. If you want to cut losses, into a Solana pump is the best time to do it. Because most likely you accrued those bags at a lower principal price, right? So you might accrue less of a loss. Hello Moon is great for that. You go on there for short-term trading, pop it on there. You can see what you pay for in that time of soul, and you'll be like, oh, profit and loss is right there. Oh, I'm only losing $11 plus the 7%. All right, I'm in for 20. So really, like, I've seen too many young investors not keep track of anything. I mean, I feel I'm 29. I feel old, right? Like no one keeps track of anything. Like Excel sheets, spreadsheets. How are you doing on the monthly, the macro? Like you got to keep these things or do you even want to be in this space? If you're getting progressively worse over the macro, then you got to switch something up. You got to be a realist, right? So like Hello Moon is great for cutting losses because into a soul pump, you hop on there, you go, wow, I'm actually only down 10, 20, $30. I thought I was down 100, right? It's good to cut losses into pumps as well, right? So no one likes to talk about it, but there's great avenues and reasons to buy. There's also great avenues and reasons to sell and cut a loss. So I'm glad Bison brought this topic up.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? I mean,
Sing it with that voice. Oh, velvety. Come on, Bison. Hit it with
Hold on. No, don't be singing it, Bison. We might get copyright.
I know. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but seriously, I mean, you do. You just got to know. You got to have in your mind of like, hey, I'm only going to take a 10% drawdown on this before I cut bag, or 20%, whatever it looks like, and just know to account for royalties and marketplace fees as well. We can talk about marketplaces though, because AMMs are starting to heat up now. We got Tensor, we got Elixir, we got Hades Swap now, Hades Swap. It's heating up, and I want to know what your guys' opinions of them are. Have you used them yet? And what's been your experience so far? Dorian, I want to go with you first.
Yeah, man. Right now in the marketplace, I've been focusing on primarily right now is Tensor. I love that platform, dude. The UI on that thing is like smooth as butter, dude. Like on the marketplace side of things, one of the best features I love about them is that they show listings at each price point. So like you can see clearly or quickly where their sell walls at. And like you can base trading off of that. It's like, oh man, this was a huge sell wall that's almost gone. So this thing's probably going to run after this. Another thing that I love about them is just their ability to quickly list and delist things. Jesus Christ, man. If you have been, I know all of you been on Magic Eden, but if you list more than 3 NFTs, you have to like delisting them is a pain because you can only delist them one at a time. And dude, it's so time taking. Even when you list NFTs, it's like, yeah, you can mass list, but you have to go in and input the number that you want to list each NFT at, unless you want to try to floor the entire collection. I personally love Tensor because you can just push in the delta, which is essentially how much the price changes between each NFT. And then boom, you can list 10 NFTs for whatever price you want. It's so smooth. And not only that, it's just like the AMM side of things. I know AMMs are like super complex and like foreign to a lot of people because it's a DeFi concept that's being brought over to NFTs. But your boy got a video coming that y'all can look up for that soon that explains all of that. But it's a great way to earn yield on the project that you believe in if you know how to work it right. So I've really been diving in trying to figure out my AMM strategy about how I tend to provide liquidity for Cyber Samurai. Not right now, probably just when I think we're going to start ranging a bit again. That was alpha for you right there, because I think things are going to start moving soon. But like once things settle down again, I think it's a great time. Providing liquidity for a project is a great way to earn passive income while still being a holder within that collection. So there are some downsides to it. What's up?
Get those fees, brother. Get those fees.
Yeah, dog. Yeah.
What you're doing is smart.
Yeah, but that's what I've been. I love Tensor. I haven't used Hate Swap or Elixir much yet. What about you, Joe?
No, not. I've used it to buy and swap essentially, right? But I have not used it to fund my own like actual pool, and to cure the fees from that. But that's because I don't have enough of one NFT to do it.
Yep.
But like Dorian, where you've been conviction heavy with Cyber Sams and you've been able to stack at a low price, you've put yourself. They've built these infrastructures for people like you. So I'm glad you're utilizing it, bro, because that's the way to do it for sure. And then with the Tensor points on top of that, that's a great way to secure some value down the line. Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah, I'm in the so I love it. I love Tensor. I've used Tensor primarily. I've messed around with Elixir, and I gotta say, I actually think I like their UI better. It just looks cleaner to me. It looks a little bit more simpler to use. Tensor reminds me of like old school, like I'm at a terminal, I'm trading this stuff, right? Like if I'm getting down to the core, like Tensor is the way to go. But Elixir feels like it's a little bit easier. I've said though, plenty of times, it doesn't matter what we like, it matters where liquidity is. And I think that, you know, a lot of feedback I've heard from HadesSwap, which I have not played around with. I've been mainly focused on Tensor and Elixir because they did come out. I like their UI. They have pretty good liquidity already on these things, and it's very easy to use for me. HadesSwap has HGE though, and it's like that's the thing. He can pull all his friends and his own liquidity into HadesSwap, and that could be the one that actually wins out. So it's just something to watch. I always say, watch where liquidity goes, and if that's going to be over at HadesSwap, then so be it. In the end, I think AMMs are great. I still think there's room for marketplaces in the long run because there are people who want to pick and choose their NFTs and like what they want to sell. And there's going to be niche, like, you know, higher floor prices and stuff, right? Where if I'm spending 300 SOL on a DGOD, right, I'm going to make sure I'll pick out the one I want. Like I'm not just going to randomly buy one out of a pool that somebody has, you know, set up for liquidity. So it is, I think when you see those higher traits, those higher rarity stuff, that's where the marketplaces come in. And then in the long run, if people want to sweep and stuff or provide liquidity, I think AMMs are great. I think that is going to be where a lot of volume ends up in the future. So I'm excited to see what happens. It's been really fun playing around with these things and just seeing the kind of platform that they bring to us. Liquidity is king, and adding in the seamless factor for us to not only make some money by providing liquidity door, but it also just like the use of it, the ease of use is going to be great just for like, hey, I want to go ahead and I'm going to sell my my NFT into a liquidity pool, right? Like I want to get rid of it. I don't want to deal with any like, I want to make sure it's liquid and I don't get caught up like Rifters. When Rifters art revealed, it was way easier to just sell it into the liquidity pool than try to catch this cascading down Magic Eden. There was a bunch of listings that hit because they didn't like the art. So just something to watch. Definitely think there is alpha to be had there, and make sure you're checking out both. Like I'm on, I used to only be on Magic Eden, right? That's where all the liquidity was. Now I check out Magic Eden, but I'm mainly on Hyperspace. Hyperspace a ton lately. And then I also tab back and forth between Tensor and lately Elixir. Elixir has been getting a lot of my attention too. And I just think it's good. Make sure you are exploring these platforms, please. This is going to be your edge in trading right here.
Yeah, I'm glad you included Hyperspace in that. Hyperspace is amazing. Like Tensor has a market aggregator, but so does Hyperspace. Use both. It doesn't hurt. I think I was able to pick up a 4x4 for like 19.5 SOL because I went on Hyperspace instead of going on Magic Eden where they were listed at 22. So yeah, it's
like
always
10 SOL
important.
on that. You can make that into a scalp, Scalp
Yep.
that thing, baby. Sell that thing right now. Take that profit, wait for it to come back down, and re-enter at 23. I got you. Not financial advice.
But yeah,
I'm totally cracking up. I'm sorry. I'm in a good mood. You can't see my face right now because of like I have to take care of myself. I got a mustache. I look real crazy, even though I wear a mask. I just feel that energy on my face if I was being seen right now. So
I'm glad you're in a good mood, Joe, especially with the things that you shared with us today, and we appreciate that.
Let's not talk about those rifters, brother. Come on, let's
Look, I'd be interested in rifters under 10 SOL. Manny's in chat right now saying, good time to buy the FUD. And I would agree. Look, maybe they did mess up metadata, which I still look, Manny, and everybody in the audience. I find a hard time you mess up metadata. Like that is that. No, you did not. That's hard to mess up, bro. That is on it. And especially this is a 10 SOL mint. If they messed up the metadata, that shouldn't be like buy the FUD or anything. You messed up the metadata, bro. Like that is basic stuff. This is a second collection, a third collection for them, with C3. Like to me, that's not inspiring right there. Like I will be interested under 10 SOL, really 7 SOL. I want to see people take losses and I'll buy the blood there. But I'm like,
dude, you're too much, man.
It's not like I want to see people lose, but like that's when I would be interested because I'm not in the project, right? Like I will buy blood then when people are panicking and emotion sets in. But like I'm remaining abstract, so I do think it's worth looking into. Joe, I heard something, and maybe you have more insight onto it, but I was actually listening to Salami Mommy, her. I say her. It is not a girl.
Dude, I thought Salami Mommy was a her too. So yeah,
I know this. I see the tweet every week, but yeah, Mommy was saying that on No Fluff is their daily space that they have. I think Mommy was saying, or somebody in their space was saying that you get 10 SOL back if you want to opt out of the ETH drop or Polygon drop, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about that, Joe.
Oh yeah. That's actually one of my main investor thesis with it, because if the Solana sold out and they only need to sell out one other chain, so ETH or Polygon sells out, which ETH most likely will, just because nothing's going on in ETH, and literally doodles of stick people sell out for 0.25 ETH. So like you can kind of count. Yeah, you can opt out for either of those ahead of time, and if so happens, they'll airdrop you 10 SOL and then another 10 SOL. So you're looking at 20 SOL of value right there for just holding. Then you can go from there and sell your underlying asset if you'd like, or hold for. They're supposedly giving really cool utility for people that really care about like that type of infrastructure and gaming with staking. So we'll see. I mean, they have a huge fund and funding behind them. So I can't see C3 wanting their sister project to fail. And like, so I hope they don't. I mean, they had almost 1,000 SOL legendary auction gone, and no one even seen the gameplay yet. So like, that's really cool. I did play the little Rifters drop that they put in. It was super spooky. It was cool. It was like a little like partial gameplay, and it was really cool. So I enjoyed that. So we should see. I think they're gonna be successful, and I think buying the FUD under 10 SOL, risk to reward ratio, not financial advice, is not a bad play. Because you can literally go and stake it and hit boop boop 2 check marks for Polygon and ETH and get 20 SOL back. So
yeah, I mean that sounds like the move to me. I'd be interested under 10 or less SOL is where I'm interested, and I'll just like eat it if it doesn't happen. But
upside, Bison, think about it occurring. The game's awesome, people love it. Now it's a 20 SOL floor. You're definitely getting your 10 back, and now you got an occurring asset 20 in your so you're almost paying your opportunity cost back to yourself before anything really happens. So that's it. That's if and then, right? But yeah, it's a thought.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just one of those things that, part of me sees this art and I'm just like, huh. I see a 10 soul mint and I say, huh.
Yeah,
But I also know
yeah.
it's C3 and they've been proven to be a profitable business above and beyond. I'd say 0.01% of NFT businesses. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I almost have to just bite it, my tongue, and just like close my eyes and click buy. But I think it could be definitely worth the risk. I mean, we've seen C3, the mad scientist, went to 30. And I would say that's a pretty comparable, although completely different project, right? This is a MOOCE RPG or something like that. I think that's what the acronym is for it. But
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So I want to make sure I got that right. But yeah, it's an interesting project. I think they're trying to do something unique. I just think that, hopefully this was just like an art mix up. Maybe they like selected the drafts or something like that, sent the drafts over before the final revision. But this art, it does not look good. And for 10 soul, man, that is disgusting.
And I'm looking at activity on Hyperspace now, which is great. Like Dorian and Bison both said, aggregator wise, because it's showing you sales from all marketplaces, right? And you're getting ton of volume under the 13 soul floor right now. With mostly bots, right? So what I like to do is to make sure those bots aren't auto listing. If they're auto listing, that's not very bullish for me. But if they're delisted, then I like that, right? So that's another little nuance that both you guys know already. Obviously, I'm not speaking for you guys. I'm speaking for the audience here. But yeah, it's something to look out for sure.
Quick thing on that about the whole trading, like being able to see like listings and selling live. Tensor also has that as well, which is pretty awesome, especially if you're an active trader. You can see how much real time, like what's being listed and like where's the floor going. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. No, good discussions here, guys. I enjoy them. Let's move into our alpha corner. We always end the show with our alpha corner. We are done for the day talking about these projects because there is still plays to be had in this market, man. It keeps moving, it keeps cycling, and our goal here on RareFUD is to stay 2 steps ahead of the game. So, want to hear from you guys. Dor, let's hear from you. I know most of your picks, but I do want to see if you've been looking at anything new and if you're still staying with your conviction on some of these plays that you've been bringing up in our recent episodes.
Yeah, man, I've been sticking pretty hard to my guns regarding 4x4, dude. It's just like that's one of my highest conviction plays right now, just because like we know who's behind it. We know like the previews for Paul have been absolutely sick, man. Like there is no other animated NFT that like this on ETH or Sol. I really think once this hits the market, these things are going to rip. Like 4x4 holders have been, I think the floor price is like 28 right now. So it's just like people know what's coming. And if you're buying this early, like Q1 2023 is like 20 years from now in crypto time. So it's like if you're like the people who are buying early and the floor is still going up, they have full intention of holding until that mint because they expect higher returns on the 4x4 itself by flipping it for whitelist. Don't get me wrong, I plan on flipping a couple for myself just to take some profit, but I also plan on holding one long term because I really love what the art on Paul, and plus I'm bullish as heck on Adam. And hopefully, we got a special guest on Thursday, and it'll be pretty awesome to have him on. So I'm looking at that. Nekozuma is another one. Like Jet has been killing it on Spaces, man. This guy's a monster. If you guys remember, Schilling got his rise from just like living on Spaces, and Jet kind of resembles that, but in a different manner. And people like to support people like that. We see it with Easy and the Nifty Portal. It's like their consistency on providing value back to the space is rewarded by people purchasing and holding your NFT. So I think Nekozuma is a great purchase at this price. Anything below 2 sold is a steal, just because Jet is such an awesome guy, and just having access to him and his ecosystem, I think, is a great thing. But those 2 things, and of course, I'm not going to say Cyber Samurai because that's a given. So yeah.
That I will echo all of those sentiments. It's really cool to see Path expanding how it is. We do have a packed schedule. We'll get into that at the end of the show. But Joe, I do want to talk to you about what you're looking at, because my man, you are in and out of trades like it's white on rice, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tell I have some ADHD, maybe, right? Um, yeah, yeah, man. I'm in and out of trade. Taking some L's on some recent mints, and definitely taking some W's on some secondary plays. I've been trading like the 5 to 8 range on Clever Arson's Nation for a couple of reasons. One, there's 0% royalties. Two, consistent volume because they are the underlying rev share play through Umbrella Incorporated, which is everything that will be under So Dead and Arson. So whatever he builds, whether it be launch pads or casinos or games or whatever they have planned, speculating, that'll be where it boils down to IP wise. That's his personal IP project. So I think it's got decent volume. I think it's going to get more of a play still here because it's not shiny yet. So I've been trading in and out of those and actually trying to accumulate a few. And I've been playing the So Dead ecosystem, right? I was able to pick a few So Deads up at a lower price. And I'm kind of just holding them right now. Other than looking for entries on GM and 4x4, which has been very hard, man. People are not selling those at all. That's what I've just been doing. I do have a few plays that I have my DB alerts from Cyber Samurai Dojo set up, and I've just been watching those carefully, man. But yeah, like Rifters is definitely one I'm watching. If it goes to a buy point, I might add another one. I do have a bunch vested, but as I'm looking more in their team and their response time and everything, like there's a chance it could bounce back. And Critters, man, I do want to make a play on Critters. I think that's a must. And I did grab another clean side the other day and some sush. But to close off with, I think we're going to see DGOD season very soon. So be careful, right? We will see volume and liquidity being taken out, especially with this soul pump guy. So don't be afraid of taking some profits, getting some things stashed away, right? Because, it's 400 soul floor for DGODs. Dust is back at $1.50. Like you hear Frank in these spaces, everyone kind of hive mind feels it coming. Tubes are at almost 140. So be careful. If there's an explosion and it goes, you're going to see a lot of your favorite projects dropping. That's not a bad thing. You could add there and just hang out comfy. But if you need liquidity, don't be afraid to take some and don't be mad at yourself about it. So thank you guys.
Yep.
Well said, Joe.
I agree with all those plays. I do think, man, this So Dead is just so interesting to me because, it almost
Bison, did you catch the spaces this morning with Hello Moon?
No,
so
I didn't.
Arson, the founder, came on with Walker and everybody on Hello Moon this morning. I was up there with Justin, Soul, and a few other people, and Arson's background is way more intensive than I thought. He's worked for Google. He's been CEO, COO for massive people. He's fully doxed. Like he's worked for the biggest worldwide gambling institutions. He's done education. I mean, it's pretty vast. And Walker even got pretty excited about it. I think we all did. We were like, wow, okay, so we still got to wait for the white paper. We still got to wait for a lot of these things to come out to solidify, but the hype and momentum's there. So regardless of any speculation up or down, I know there'll be volatility. And as a trader, you can kind of, make plays off that. So that's what I'm looking for at the Soul Dead. And it's anything that gets a lot of ears and eyes is kind of fun to look into and just see, all right, what's the next little meta that might pop out of this and what's going on. So yeah, we shall see, man, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Arts and I need to do more background. I need to go back through and listen to that space with Hello Moon. I ended up missing it because I had some other work to do, but they've just continuously produced. Dude, it's really hard to ignore at this point because I kept fading them at like 2-3 soul when I saw them popping up on smart money and stuff like that. And I was like, what on earth are these things? These are like dead god derivatives, right? I was like, this is silly. It's not. When you start looking at the background, I mean, the So Dead ecosystem actually looks like it's viable. So definitely need to do more research before I come up with like a formulated opinion on it. But they've been pumping, they've been printing right now. And I think if you got in 2-3 sold, that's a 10x right there. But I do think there's some other good plays out there. One I want to talk about that kind of faded from everybody's mind is Primates. I actually think Primates may be a play. It's sitting right around 11 soul last time I checked, and it's look, they got a war chest over there. They've had plenty of volume over there. I think they come out with good collaborations. I think the art's unique. I don't care for you. I've said it before. I'm done with apes in general. I'm so tired of seeing more ape artwork because we've seen it so much. But with primates, they just feel like they got good connections. I know infections coming up. I do think there's a play to be made with primates. Another one that has just been printing lately too, and just keeps popping up and popping up is Liberty Square. I will forever.
Yeah.
I try not to think of like the next blue chip or anything like that. I try to say like, where's the good growth or anything. But honestly, Liberty Square just keeps showing up, man. They keep showing up in the community. They got a rabid community, diamond fisted. Like these guys are at what, 3% listed right now? 335 out of a 10K collection. That's a 3.3 listing percentage. They have continuously been popping off. I think that they are doing great things. They are one of the only speakers over at NFT Vegas. I think there's enough bullish things there for Liberty Square that I do think this is a blue chip in the making. It just feels like it has all the ingredients that I'm like, hey, this is something I feel comfortable parking liquidity into and just staking it. It sounds like they're doing cool things with Filth. I have my 2 squirrels staking. I kind of want to add a third. I'm not going to lie. And this is a scary price for me. I really don't like buying anything over 10 SOL because I do see a lot of these good projects that I'm like, man, it's much easier to go from 5 to 15 SOL than it is from like 15 to 50, right? And you're talking like a 3x multiple right there. Or I guess 45, but it's one of those projects I just feel like it has that good community, and Filth seems like it's doing really cool things. And I love seeing a token that isn't just like Ponzi-nomics. Like the team actively wants that Filth token back. So I do think that's another play. Those are my 2 mid-tier, like mid-price point plays that I think. Obviously, Catalina, we've already talked about it. I just think, bro, at these prices, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I think you can find really good deals on some cool whales, and I think in the long run, it'll pay for itself. With the opportunities and access you get. Bubble Goose at 3 FUD. And I would at least have 1 Bubble Goose, right? Like I've always said to everybody, this is not something that I think having more is greater. I have 3. And I think that's about as much as I want. If I can trade up to a cool one, I think I'm going to. But other than that, I'm pretty much done over there. What was the last one? Critters Cult is another one that I just feel like it's there. There's something special there, and I just can't put my finger on it, but something special is happening over there. So like you said, 4x4 is holding up way better than I thought it would. Maybe we can FUD Adam on Thursday so I can get a better entry. But
bro. I'm down for that.
Yeah, no, I love Adam. I love what he's doing. I don't know if you guys saw the previews for Iron Paw Gang. I know you guys did, but at least the rest of the viewers,
crazy.
That
looks good.
It is insanely good. So I think there's definitely something brewing there. And if you are going to go for it, I personally prefer 4x4, right? It is his first edition. It is the actual artwork. And if you can accumulate it at a good price, great. But the supply chain and Voxel Monkey airdrop is a cheaper way right now to get into an Iron Paw Gang whitelist. So just keep that in mind. If you guys are going for the whitelist and these things continuously these listings aren't coming back on the market. It seems like I was like, oh, there's going to be enough like impatience that we'll see. No. And Adam responded back to Dorian and said that there's a catalyst coming for in the next month or so for, Iron Paw or for 4x4 for Voxel Monkey and supply chain Voxel Monkey airdrop. So it's something to watch. I definitely
they cut the supply.
Yeah. They do.
They cut it by 1,000.
So
and yeah, dude. I mean, come on, it's great. And there's a really cool thread. I actually didn't even know a couple of things. I didn't know you had to do like a mech and a driver. So you have to like mint 2 things in order to have the full NFT capability. Like there's 2 different selections that you have to make, which is really cool too. So and then quick alpha, real quick, guys. With Soul Dead blowing up, right? And you got to make sure you do your research. If it's legit, then you got to start looking at the spider webs to invest in, right? Who are they going to use for their shadow code or like aggregating? What are they going to use for these infrastructures that are out here, right? Whitelist allocations. Who are they going to use, right? because they're going to use somebody, and they're not using the big names. I'm going to tell you that right now, because just that's how they're trying to operate. They're trying to start from the ground up, right? And they don't want to be tied to different paradigms. So start looking for spider webs, possibilities, and don't pull the trigger, but at least keep your mind in that way, because that's how you got into a DGOT or got into a DAA before. Like, you started to find those spider webs or a Blocksmith Lab. These are all things that spider web down from other ideas. So yeah, just keep your mind open to things and possibilities.
Yeah, for
Agreed.
sure, man. I missed another auction. One-on-one. I don't need to be bidding on any more one-on-one art, but yeah, I will forever still be looking, still be watching. There is a low front piece right now that is beautiful. I've been bullish on low fronts since they were sub 20, and you will be lucky to find this. I guarantee you this thing goes to 60. I just have a weird feeling about it, but
dude, I want to bid on it. I'm just trying to sell some stuff off. So if it sells off, you'll see your boy in there.
It's at 28.8, and there's about 3 hours left. I get it. That's already high for that amount of time left, because most of the bids come in at the end. So yeah, I will continue looking at one-on-one art. I still think there's a lot of alpha to be had over there. I just missed out on a Techtober piece, which that's TEKTOBER on Form Function. One of my favorite artists that I've seen, and just consistently getting auctions around that 8 to 10 soul mark, and good cadence of pace. I love the unique art style. It's very vibrant and colorful. You always see that crescent moon in there. I like seeing a nice thematic across it. So that's, if you want one-on-one alpha, I think Techtober is a really affordable artist right now that has good cadence, good pace of releasing art that you can definitely get into for a really affordable price, in my opinion. That's about it for alpha, though, guys. Is there anything else we want to talk about before I go into our closing statements here?
No, once again, as always, I appreciate all of you taking time out your day to spend it here with us, and I appreciate everybody who came out on Friday to listen to our first Twitter space.
Yeah, it was insane. That does lead us into our last point, guys. We have a packed schedule for RareFUD Radio. Over the next 3 shows, we actually have 3 guests. This is to help make up for missing Thursday's episode. Thank you, Hurricane Ian, for giving us a scare, having people over and coming to find out it didn't even touch us here in Jacksonville, but thoughts and prayers for those that were affected, especially in Southwest Florida. We have 3 really good guests. So we have Adam coming on Thursday. If you guys don't know his Voxel Monkey series, it is one of the most famous on the Soul 101 space, and his upcoming mint with Iron Paw Gang going to be over on ETH. So we are definitely going to talk to him about that, what, his thought process, how he got into the space. We'll have Shake from Cyber Samurai is going to be on Tuesday. And we love Shake. He's a regular guest. I was fortunate enough to talk to him months back when I started the channel. And, it's been fun to watch Cyber Samurai grow and just hearing what he has cooking for us. And then we also, on next Thursday, we have Hello Moon. So Walker from Hello Moon is going to be coming on to talk to us about the platform, talk to us about what's been cooking up there, talk to us about the market. So with all that said, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and click that little link down there. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss any episode. You can also catch the episodes on my Twitter at BisonTrades. Make sure you follow the homies as well at Dorian_W. That is a 3 in there instead of an E, as well as at Joe Soul 212. Make sure that you are listening on podcasts. Make sure you are subscribed on podcasts if that is more accessible for you. If you go on morning walks or if you're commuting to work, that's a very easy and digestible way to get caught up on the market and see everything that's happening here, as well as make sure you don't miss our space. It's going to be Friday at noon for right now. I think that's a pretty concrete time. We were going to test it out and see how it plays out, but last space was incredible. We had 400 unique people listen to the space, about 140 people at one time. We had some awesome people in there, Liberty Square, Shake, as well as Frank from D-Gods. It was incredible for a first space. So we will continuously be doing that as well, to be interacting with you guys. It was fun bringing people up from the audience and just talking to them about what they're looking at and everything in between. With that said, thank you so much for watching another episode of RareFUD Radio, episode 16. We will see you Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with our episode with Mr. Adam 8. We are so excited to talk to him, and we'll see you on the next episode. Have a good one, guys.